Hi, this is Judy Haber, today we're going to talk about what every magazine writer needs to know. Or another way of putting that would be fake it until you make it. And that's basically what we're going to talk about. When you get into the world of magazine writing, you have to act as if you know what you're talking about. So, what we're going to discuss are some different things that you can do and learn through these videos, which will help you fit in. So, the first thing we're going to discuss is what is a masthead? For a lot of people, they believe that a masthead is this: the cover of the magazine with the title and the picture on the front. And that's not true. What a masthead is it's a page in a magazine that shows the editor, the managing editor, all of the people behind the magazine. Um, it also notes your mission statement, which is informing, entertaining, and featuring the women of San Diego. It'll list your phone number, how to contact you, if you want to get a subscription, your social media links, all of the information that's necessary for anyone to know who's behind the magazine and to find out who to contact. This is really important to know where the masthead is on a magazine that you're thinking of writing for. And the reason for that is that this is how you find out who to send your writing to. It isn't always very obvious. A lot of times it will say just the head writer or the executive editor, or it'll say the publisher, editor in chief. Generally, if there's not a specific person to send it to, the best thing to do would be for you to send it to the editor in chief because they're the ones who are going to make the final decision as to whether or not your piece gets published. So, step one is know what a masthead is and be able to read it so that you can find the right people to send your work to. Now we're moving on to number two. What are writers' guidelines? Guidelines are the directions that a writer has to follow when wanting to submit a piece of writing to a magazine. So it'll give you all the information as to what kind of material the magazine is looking for and how to go about sending your work to them and any other specifics that they have, how much they pay. We're going to go through a guideline so I can explain to you what a guideline entails. So on the screen right now, you'll see this is a guideline from what used to be Writer's Digest, but they're no longer online. But this is a good sample for you to see, which will teach you how to read any kind of guideline. Now, if you're looking for guidelines, the easiest way to get the guidelines for a magazine is to go onto their website. Usually at the very bottom of the site, in the small print, you'll find a listing of Write for Us or Writer's Guidelines or Work with Us, something of that nature. And that generally will be the information on what to send them if you know what they're looking for and what they want you to send to them. So this is a sample of what you'll get back from them when you ask them those questions. Now, in this particular magazine, it's called 50 Something Magazine, right below the title is the name of the company, the publishing company, and then their phone number, their fax number, and their email address. They'll also give you who to contact, okay, and that's the person that you're going to send your writing to. You want to make sure you send it to the right person because if you don't, chances are it'll never see the light of day. So you want to make sure that you have the right person when you're sending a piece of writing out. It tells you a little bit about the magazine then, so you know what you're dealing with, what kind of articles they might be looking for. One of my first suggestions is always to get a copy of the magazine. And nowadays it's a lot easier than it used to be. You could just go online to their website and take a look at their magazine. The reason that you need to look at their magazine is you want to know who they appeal to, and this will help you with the style and the way that you write the article. Okay, so in this particular case, this magazine caters to the 50 and better reader. So we know we're working with seniors or people approaching their senior years. You wouldn't send them something about how to buy a prom dress or what the latest concert information is. You'd be more likely to send something to them that's more fitting for their age group. So this helps with what you're going to send to the publication. Then they have information about their freelancer facts, which is basically what you are. You're a freelancer for this magazine. It tells you how much of the magazine is freelance written. Unfortunately, with the decrease in magazines, a lot of magazines haven't been able to hire a lot of staff writers. It's a bad thing for them, but it's kind of a good thing for freelance writers because we get the opportunity to send our work to a lot more magazines than we used to. So this particular publication is 80% freelance written, okay, which means most of their articles are coming from people like you and I, freelancers. So it tells you a little bit about them and how big the circulation is. In this case, they're only a 10,000 circulation publication, which is pretty small. They pay on publication, and we're going to get into some information on that as we go more through the questions. But paying on publication means you're not going to get paid until they publish your article, which in most cases is a 6-month waiting period from the time you get notified that they've accepted your work until the time the publication actually appears. So this is a delay in getting paid. So when we're searching for magazines, we always like ones that pay on submission and not that pay on publication. This particular one pays on publication. Okay, and it also mentions that they publish the manuscript 6 months after acceptance. You get a byline. Now that's important because everybody assumes that if you write something, your name's going to be on it, but it's not always the case. So make sure that it says it in the guidelines that you are going to get a byline, because even if a magazine doesn't pay very much, the good thing about it is that it gives you a clip that you can use to get other writing jobs. So you want to make sure your name is on the article. Okay, let's talk about what a kill fee is. Okay, a kill fee is related to whether or not a magazine pays on publication or they pay on submission, okay, or what they call acceptance. So if a publication pays on acceptance, it means that they will call you and say, hey, we love your article and we're going to send you a check. If they pay on publication, it means they're going to call you and say, hey, we love your article, but you have to wait 6 months to get paid. So, of course, most writers like payment on acceptance. But in case you need to work with a magazine that doesn't pay that way and they pay on publication, you want to be certain that they take a kill fee, that they pay a kill fee. And what a kill fee is, it's kind of like a consolation prize. There is such a large turnover in the publishing industry that sometimes a publisher or an editor might say, I love this article, and then they leave. And now the next person that comes on board doesn't love your article. So you're out of luck. You're not going to get it published. But if you have a kill fee involved, that means that you're going to get some money for them holding on to your article for 6 months, which made it not available to you to sell anywhere else. So you want to make sure that they do pay a kill fee. Okay, then we have to talk about the rights. There are certain different rights that magazines will offer. The ideal one is one-time rights, and that means that they only have the rights to that article for the time that the magazine is on the newsstands. So if it's a monthly magazine, once the next issue comes out, those rights to your article revert back to you. What does this mean to you? It means you get to sell it again. Okay, you get to make more income from it. Sometimes you make minor modifications to it and it's a different article. Okay, so you want to have that ability to get the rights back so you can resell what you've already written. The other thing that this particular publication accepts is second serial reprint rights, which means if you've published your article somewhere else, they're still willing to publish it. So if they are, as long as they know it's been published somewhere else and they say they will honor it, they will publish it. So you can make money a second time by giving them articles that you've already had published. Okay, and simultaneous rights is an unusual one, but generally it's with small regional publications. And what happens is, say you're publishing an article in New York and you're trying to approach a magazine in San Diego, they will look at to see where it was published before, and if that's okay with them, because it is okay to do second serial rights with them, they will do a publication of an article that's already been out there. So they accept that as well. So this is a pretty wide open magazine. They're willing to take just about anything. Their editorial lead time is 6 months, which means if you want to send them a Christmas article, you'd need to send it in July. So in the publishing world, there is Christmas in July. So make sure that you start thinking about those seasonal articles well in advance of writing them and sending them into magazines. They also allow you to send it in many different ways. Right now, a lot of magazines are only taking email submissions. There are still some taking mail submissions, but the guidelines will tell you that. So take a look at the guidelines and see if it says they will accept email and mail, or if it's just email that they want. Okay, they will also publish previously published material, which it says in the guidelines, and they respond in 3 months to a query letter and 3 months to a manuscript. So you'd be better off sending the manuscript, otherwise you'd have a 6-month wait to know if they're going to take your article or not. Okay, if you want anything returned, if you're sending it via mail, just send a self-addressed stamped envelope with it. On the right side of the page, they talk about the different categories of subjects that they're looking for. So you can look through, see what they pay for each type, and decide what you want to send to them. So that's about it on guidelines. Make sure you ask for guidelines from any magazine that you're interested in being published in. Okay, see you next time.